The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, on Monday, while speaking at the presidential dialogue with the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, called on Nigerians not to give power to the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Atiku described Tinubu as a greenhorn on the national leader of the same party that brought Nigeria to the situation the country finds itself. He criticized the current administration, saying more Nigerians are poorer and more miserable now than in 2015. The PDP standard-bearer said he is the best candidate to rescue Nigeria due to his experience in economic reforms and management matters. On the effect of conflicts and insecurity on investments in the country, Atiku said his administration would take tough and difficult decisions on security matters without fear or favor. Joining us on the show this morning to discuss Atiku's visit to the Nigerian Economic Summit Group in Lagos, his trip last week to the UK at the invitation of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, his chances in the becoming election, is Professor Usman Yusuf, former Executive Secretary, NHIS, and a strong supporter of Atiku Abubakar's candidacy for president in 2023. Welcome to the morning show, Alhaji Usman.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. So the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Waziri Atiku Abubakar, was at the NESG Economic Summit to discuss his plans for the economy. His main focus was on, and he did highlight a number of challenges that the Nigerian economy is facing under the current APC government. He also highlighted or reiterated his 5-point agenda with responding to the economy. I'd like you to just give an overview of his outing at the NESG.
Yeah. So I was there with him. Nigerian Economic Summit Group. It's a group of economists and industry leaders that interrogate candidates on the economy and see what do they have as regards what they're going to do to the economy. These are very serious people, and I was there and I was very impressed. I come from academia where you talk data, where you sit down and digest, not the screaming of politicians. So for me, that was a good place for me, and I learned a lot, and I'm not an economist. So fellow Nigerians, we've said it before, we'll say it again. PDP 2023 election will be nothing but a referendum on the 8 years stewardship of APC. They came on 3 things. They are going to improve the economy, they are going to improve security, and they are going to fight corruption. On all 3 counts, they have failed. Not only failed, they have failed woefully. And we say it again, we'll continue to say it. APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the grandfather of APC. Nobody in APC will absolve himself or herself from the mess that APC has put us through. These are very serious times. Nigeria is in the ICU. It requires, I'm a physician, I'm a doctor, 41 years and counting. Requires, when a patient is in the ICU, it requires an experienced doctor, not a rookie. It requires somebody who is healthy, who is visionary, who has been there, who understands Nigeria and Nigerians. That person undoubtedly for me is Atiku Abubakar. He was interrogated by these eminent economists as to what he's going to do to the economy. Nigeria is essentially broke. Here we are, we inherited a debt in 2014 of 7.8 trillion. This government is leaving us with our children and grandchildren indebted to the tune of over 77 trillion. 77 trillion. Now we are servicing whatever we get, we pay debt. We are servicing our debt more than we get. So Nigeria is broke. And here you are with this comedy and confusion with the CBN. I mean, insane claims. What is happening with the CBN governor and CBN will crash the economy, will crash the naira. But everybody, you ask yourself who is in charge here. The economy is in a mess. You need a steady hand. You need somebody who's been there, who's done it before. And that, in my opinion, undoubtedly is Atiku Abubakar. He answered all the questions put to him by these eminent economists yesterday. And I was very impressed.
Okay, so you're happy with the outcome of that meeting.
Yes.
Now, you said something that really is top of mind. I remember 2015 election. There was a lot of conversation, and I've been in the media then. I've been working with another platform. And I do remember quite a few people came on television and said Nigeria is broke in 2015. This is 2022. We're still saying Nigeria is broke. And we're saying we're going to find it difficult to find the finance or the fund to run our economy and to grow it. One of the areas that's being said to be a source of major problem for our economy is security. And I've had opportunity of having conversation with you on a number of occasions where we talked about security. Because if there is a level of insecurity, especially in the Northeast and the Northwest, then our food basket is decimated. What is your candidate going to do that will be different from what this government is doing to ensure that our food basket creates a security in terms of food?
Good. Briefly, let's talk about the economy briefly before we move here. This government came in over the last 8 years. What song have they been singing? That they're going to take 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. So in 10 years, so every year they will take out 10 million. But here you are, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, in October came out with the data. 133 million Nigerians are in multidimensional poverty. Multidimensional poverty. 65% of them are in the north. And of that, 35% are from the northwest, where I'm from, where the president is from. So you tell me, Nigerians should ask themselves, what have they been doing over the last 8 years? The president, they've incited these in his speeches, several of his speeches. The vice president will be reading it over the teleprompter. We are going to take out 100 million. So they've just been talking. So they have failed when they, as far as the economy, and for me, this is real. I go back to Katsina, where I come from, and I see the poverty. Many villages, you take out 1,000 naira, go to the village square and ask for a change. Nobody can give you change. Our people are poorer today than they were before this APC government came in. Anybody associated with APC cannot absolve himself. Back to insecurity. For me, insecurity is real. And this is one of the reasons I came into this fight. I'm a physician. We came into this struggle because we must. Katsina, where I come from, where the presidents come from, we have 34 local governments. Of the 34, 30 local governments are under siege by bandits. A third of my state, the president's state, are under siege by bandits. We've never seen IDPs before this government came in. Today in my state, capital city is filling up with IDPs. We gave President Muhammadu Buhari 1.2 million votes in 2019. Lagos gave him half of that. What do we have to show for that in Katsina? Over the last 8 years stewardship of our son. What we have to show for that is death and destruction. Our villages have been pillaged, women raped, cattle rustled, and our people killed daily. And this is the story only in Katsina. All over, from Adamawa to Zamfara, we're still burying our dead every day. This is security. We are talking about farming and agriculture. Our people are not able to go to the farm because of insecurity. Bandits are occupying have scared them off their land. Even if they go to the land, they have to pay levy. In some places in Zamfara, they burn the farm product. The primary responsibility, constitutional responsibility of government, Section 14, subsection 2B, is to provide security and the welfare of the people.
So if Atiku
on that count, on that count, this government has failed. What this government, what Atiku Abubakar will do, number one, I'm a physician. You do not write a prescription until you have a diagnosis.
Okay.
This president, President Muhammadu Buhari, admitted himself that of all the conflicts in this country, he said that, not me, in the palace of the Sultan of Sokoto, of all the conflicts in this country, it is this banditry that he does not understand. If the commander-in-chief does not understand a conflict, what are his orders to his commanders? How does he define success? So, first of all, you must understand. And that is the reason I and Sheikh Gumi ventured, not at the behest of any government, risked our lives, went into the forest in 8 northern states in this country to understand. Martin Luther King said, violence is the language of the unheard. We are Fulanis. We have our children doing this, and everybody is sitting down. If the state has failed, where are the statesmen? Every geopolitical zone, what we have is failure of leadership of the elders. Our children, we've lost control of them. That's why you have Boko Haram, Kanuri youth. Where are the elders?
All right, let me just come in here, because you talked about Sheikh Gumi, and that's quite interesting, because Sheikh Gumi has said that he describes bandits as our people, and is actually taking quite a soft stance with bandits. And here you are saying that side by side with the fact that the candidate you're supporting is going to take a high stance against insecurity should he become president. That's a bit that's an oxymoron, isn't it?
No, there's no contradiction.
That side by side.
No, there's no contradiction. If you do not, and I'm not a spokesperson for Sheikh Gumi.
No, it's just because you mentioned him. That's because you said
we went into the forest, to understand. Good.
Okay.
What I'm saying, if you do not understand, if a leader does not understand a problem, how can you solve it? Even at home, if your kids are fighting, you don't slap everybody. You sit down and find out what the problem is. So understanding is a primary problem. And this is why we have this problem. If you do not understand, and we know what the problems are. And people in the Southeast know what the grievances of IPOB are.
Okay, Prof, I'm still yet to hear from you. What will Atiku Abubakar do on security that will be different from what this government is doing?
First of all, understanding. If the government fails...
Does he understand it as of today?
Absolutely. We are making him understand.
Okay.
That is why we're here. We have invested our time. I didn't know Atiku Abubakar before this. But we needed to get to our leaders and make them understand the difference between Atiku Abubakar and President Muhammadu Buhari. Atiku Abubakar listens, and he's swayed by superior argument. The president is surrounded by people that do not want him to listen. So you listen, you make a diagnosis, you have a prescription. Number one, all the problems of banditry that I've invested my life over the last 3 years, I'm an oncologist. The primary of the cancer is in Zamfara. What we are seeing is the spread. We're going after the spread. Go to the primary and do the surgery in Zamfara. Understand it, involve everybody. And I've said it again and again, banditry is a social problem. There is a place for the military. There's not going to be a military solution to banditry. None. Never in the history of warfare have conflicts like this been won on the battlefield. The role of the military is to provide an enabling environment for dialogue and for issues to be sorted out. When the government is militarizing conflicts, you're not going to solve these problems. Military will not solve IPOB problem.
Okay.
Military will not solve, they will ameliorate that and provide the civil authority to find problems that they brought in. These are problems that were brought up by politicians. So your candidate's perspective is... He understands it very well.
Yeah.
And another thing, the military and security agencies, we do not have enough boots on the ground. You are buying Tucano jets and throwing from the sky when you do not have boots on the ground to man the ungoverned spaces. We need to have more boots on the ground to man all these places. Police. How many policemen do we have? And how many of them are guarding the big men? We need to rejig our security architecture that this government has been talking about over the last 8 years. It's just singing.
All right.
We know it, and we will work with our security agents to do the right thing.
So from our understanding, the same understanding and dialogue you're proposing, or what Waziri Atiku Abubakar would have with the bandits, would be the same for the agitators of Biafran agitators, Yoruba Nation agitators. So all of this, in terms of tackling security, he'll dialogue with them.
No.
He'll dialogue.
So what I am saying is that it is not the responsibility of the military to sit down with IPOB, Boko Haram, bandits and all that. Where are the elders?
Okay. All right,
Where
let's
are the
move away
elders?
from that for a second.
Everybody must get involved in his region. That is why I said the emergence of Peter Obi on the political scene is a positive in this country, because I don't know if you noticed, it is quieting down that agitation and violence from the northeast.
Okay.
Because Igbo youth are now seeing a pathway. My hope and prayer is that Peter Obi is not if he loses, when he loses, continues to get engaged and quieten that and get those kids to see there's a better pathway than violence.
All right, let me. I have two questions for you. Just number one, I'm glad you talked about Mr. Peter Obi, because the first question will be in relation to what he said and what you've just said. He said in his speech yesterday at Chatham House, when he was responding to questions, that Nigerians today, the ethnic tensions in Nigeria today are a result of injustice, unfairness, exclusion, and marginalization. So some people, some regions feel like they've been disadvantaged, or they are disadvantaged compared to other regions. Put that side by the fact that people are also saying that we've had 8 years of a Fulani man in power, and when we look at equitable distribution, fairness, the fact that every Nigerian feels included, that it is only fair that the next 4 years or 8 years should go to the South. What do you think about this? That's one. I'd like you to respond to that, because the candidate you're supporting is also from the north. That means that Nigeria is going to have a president from the northern part of Nigeria for at least 12 years, if not 16 years. Is that fair? And does that promote inclusion? Would that not aggravate agitations already? That's the first. The second one, the first part about him, he talked about the fact that he was coming in to, to respond to the economy as an experienced businessman, that he's worked in the private sector for a while, he's made money in this area. And this just brings up the question around the source of his wealth, because the APC's PCC had a press conference yesterday where they questioned the source of his wealth, citing the example of the special purpose vehicles, and which, during his time, saying that they siphoned government money into private accounts. And so that was that how can he prove the source of his income to set up universities, many businesses that he has? I'd like you to speak to those two things, please.
All right. This, you said, it's interesting. I saw it. What's the name of the spokesperson? The guy that screams.
It was a full retinue of them. There was Mr. Festus Keyamo, there was Mr. Dele Alake.
Good.
Yes, they had a number of people.
Good.
There.
So I'll talk about that before I talk about the others. So it was screaming and saying, so three things. I will not dignify what they said with comment, but I must, because you asked. Number one, you say, let he who has no sin cast the first stone. We're asking the source of wealth of Wazirin Adamawa, but they are not asking the source of wealth of their principal. I'm not here going to talk about a social media thing. But fellow Nigerians, what I want to tell you is that the APC is drowning. 5 weeks to an election, they're saying they're losing it. So what are they doing? Throwing everything. And for us, look at the people that sat down and were talking. For us, the majority of Nigerians, 93 million Nigerians, they have confirm what I've always said, that the APC is disconnected from the realities of our people. Realities of our people is that 133 million Nigerians are in poverty. In Katsina, a third of my state is under siege. Our people are being killed every day. And this is a ruling party that has had the stewardship of this country for 8 years. And these guys are coming to tell us, this. Tell us what you're going to do. We are challenging what you've done over the last 8 years. They've nothing to do now. They've lost it. They are disconnected from realities of our people. And I had one of them scream and say, I will go to court if
they
the
have
PCC...
put a petition before EFCC.
Yeah, I will go to court. And there is this movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And there is this guy, Tuko. Say, if you gotta shoot, shoot. Don't talk. And go to court. Wherever you want to go, go. Is this what bothers our people? I've just come back from the Northwest, the 7 states in the Northwest that has 21 million eligible voters. They don't watch TV, they don't do this, they don't hear all we're talking about. The problem is how to eke a living. We are burying our dead. We are suffering from this much poverty. Before this government came in, 50 kilograms of rice was selling at 7,000. Now is 40,000. Rice is out of reach of the common man. And here you are, city folks from APC sitting and screaming in Abuja or wherever it is they're screaming. They're disconnected. We don't even know what they're talking about. And us responding to them is dignifying. Come tell us what you're going to do.
Yeah, but Nigerians are also asking beyond the APC, PCC, and I just wanted you to just respond to it, directly in terms of the SPV's corruption cases corruption allegations, and put it that way, because he is innocent until proven guilty. But corruption allegations against Atiku Abubakar, and the fact that he's saying he's going to fight corruption, he's going to build the economy. People are saying that you haven't responded to the cases. You haven't said anything. You haven't defended yourself.
True. So allegations, do we sit down in studios and solve allegations? If there are allegations, take them to court. And I know about allegations in Nigeria. I was in the NHIS for 3 years. My stewardship at the NHIS, I went to fight corruption. The petitions all over. Based on allegations, I was suspended 3 times. I chose the pathway to honor. I refused to partake in the cocktail of corruption. And I have the badges to show for that. I have the scar to show for that. I fought corruption. This government has been talking about fighting corruption. APC government, one of those persons screaming on the TV yesterday is a serving minister in the cabinet talking about corruption. This is where we are. One single person, accountant general, was alleged to have taken 109 billion. 16.5 billion of that came from the NHIS. Oil bunkering. We've never seen this much. Look at the CBN governor. DSS is looking for him. This government is drowning in corruption, and we haven't seen the end of it until this government goes out. So it is about time APC government start writing aids, handing over notes.
Okay.
Instead of screaming and telling everybody is their fault.
Let me put the question in another way. If this was Peter Obi or Kwankwaso or Asiwaju Tinubu that is alleged to have enriched themselves through a project like the SPV, what would you say? What would be your response? Would you say that it is okay? Allegations are allegations. And I don't think, they should go to court.
Yeah,
what would be your response?
And I don't think you heard me say it is okay. The key word you say is alleged.
Yes.
When it is alleged, it needs to be investigated, go to court,
or
do whatever. I'm coming. Go to court. We don't do that. There are people that are supposed to do all of that. The APC is drowning, has nothing to say to Nigerians. It is trying to distract our attention. We have been going from the edges of the Sahara, where I come to the creeks of the Niger, telling Nigerians why it will be suicidal to re-elect APC again. The same party that has brought us into this mess over the last 8 years. We are in Lagos today, we'll be in Ekiti tomorrow, we'll be in Ondo, we'll be everywhere in the Southwest, telling our people, not in the studio, making allegations.
Sorry, if I can just ask before we move on to other things. Does this allegation worry you as a Nigerian that someone was in government and there are allegations, very strong, albeit from somebody who's a whistleblower? Does it worry you that this allegation is coming at this time?
Good.
Does it bother you?
Good. So whistleblower. So why now? When did it happen? Was it yesterday? 20-something years ago? Right? So why now?
Well, the time.
So let's talk about whistleblowing.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I said it again and again. When I was in the NHIS, the whistle I blew was too loud for some ears. Over 13 banks in the Federal Republic of Nigeria are still holding NHIS money in billions. Everybody in this government knew I blew that whistle. Nobody heard. All of a sudden, this APC government is drowning, has nothing to tell Nigerians. Oh, it's bringing, 23 years ago, something happened. It's not for me. It's
okay,
not for
sir,
me.
because we're almost out of time. Time is immaterial. The question is, when we had Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu with the case in Chicago and, alleged drugs, him being involved in there, time was immaterial. Did he do it or didn't he do it? That's what Nigerians want to know. Because at the end of the day, it's not, and if you want to say that you want to abstain from responding, that's okay. However, it would be good for your presidential candidate to come out and speak to Nigerians about it. But to say that because they're coming out, irrespective of it, whether it happened 23 years ago, 10 years ago, did he or did he not take Nigerians' money for private use? That's what Nigerians want.
And you expect me to answer that?
That's why I said you don't have to answer. But
what I'm saying is that,
question,
if you want to say that for the cameras to hear, fine. But this question is not for me, and I'm not here to answer that.
Fair enough. So
let's
the first question.
What was the first question
with regards to fairness? 8 years
good.
and then
You
inclusion, promoting inclusion.
Good. You said that, and I've said it in several appearances. So this country, the Southwest and the Southeast, these two regions do not know diversity. The Southwest, 100% Yoruba Muslims and Christians. The Southeast, 100% Igbo, 100% Christians. That's why when you hear ethnicity come from these two geopolitical zones. You want to see diversity? Come to the north. In the north, Kaduna State alone has 53 ethnic groups. There is not a single state in all the 19 states in the country that is only one ethnic group or only one religion. We have lived in the north in peace with all our ethnic groups and religions. Politics is not about, is this guy, is this guy, is this guy. And I said, if President Goodluck Jonathan from Bayelsa State, the smallest state, Bayelsa State has only 8 local governments, and he was a minority. If President Goodluck Jonathan from the smallest state, from a small ethnic group, could become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, guess who voted him? Not the 8 local governments. Bulk of his votes came from the north, particularly the northwest. President Olusegun Obasanjo, bulk of his votes came from the north. He didn't get the votes from the southwest. MKO Abiola defeated late Bashir Tofa from Kano. The north voted him. So the north has had a history of voting for people from all geopolitical zones, not with a gun on their head, not with any threats, not with any blackmail. If President Goodluck Jonathan could become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria from the smallest state, from the smallest ethnic group, any ethnic group can become president.
So it's fair. It doesn't matter. So it's fair.
It's democracy.
All right.
It's
That's
democracy.
what I wanted to find. Thank you so much.
All
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yusuf Usman, former Executive Secretary, NHIS, for speaking to us this morning.